Welcome to the Land Cave, where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen through the power of the internet.
Hello!
Yeah, both wearing our nerdy shirts as per usual. That's what we do.
I literally change every time before the show.
I do too, but it's usually either I've worn that shirt too many times, or I feel like what I'm wearing is too plain. But usually I want to space it up. You purposely put on some nerdy stuff, right?
Every single time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I refuse to not, like, if I'm going to do a nerdy podcast, I'm going to wear a nerdy shirt.
I think I've one time worn a button-down shirt because it's happened to be what I was wearing, and I can't remember if I did it. I think I did that. Maybe it was on a solo show. I don't remember. But yeah, we got to represent. We talk about nerd stuff here. We talk about video games. We talk about comic books. Just general nerd stuff. Mostly video games. But yeah, we're not going to discriminate against nerd culture.
Not in the least.
No.
It's not what we do around here.
Not at all.
So I was looking down at my phone because I was trying to share the live feed.
That's okay. I will say, speaking of discriminating against nerd culture, I found myself doing that. There's a YouTube show that I started watching called Actually, and it's, I don't know if you've seen it, but you have people, basically the premise is that they'll read off a fact, but part of the fact is wrong. About some nerd culture, and the person buzzes in and has to say actually and correct it.
I have seen that. I watched maybe an episode at one point or another.
It's okay. I find it funny, like, partially because I feel like it's a challenge. Sometimes it's interesting. Sometimes people miss things that I think would be like really easy, and then they have questions about animorphs.
I used to read that book.
You did? Okay.
Oh yeah, that was right. That was right around my time. I mean, you're a few years behind me, so that was like early middle school.
Yeah, so
late elementary school.
They were mentioning that, like, they haven't talked about Digimon or anything like that, but like they mentioned Animorphs, and like I would have gotten some Digimon stuff, but I just thought it was funny. Like the one that I can't believe no one got was they had a Battlestar Galactica thing that they described, and they were calling the Cylons like Agorions or something like that, and I'm like, even if you don't watch the show, I think people know what Cylons are, right?
I mean, you're talking about a hole in my personal knowledge. Okay. I have literally I've been told to go watch like the later series of Battlestar Galactica, so I know that there's like an original series, and then I know it like came back at some point.
And the new one's completely different. Yeah.
And I've been told I should watch the one where it comes back.
Yeah.
I think. But literally I've never seen a single episode of Battlestar Galactica.
I've not seen a single episode of the new one, which is supposed to be good, but like I knew what Cylons were. But anyways, that's what I've been up to.
Well, see, I would have gotten that question wrong. If you ever really do want to make yourself feel good, though, look up all the times that video games have been on Jeopardy, and like see those questions or answers rather, since we're talking about Jeopardy, and like all the way up to like $1,000, and it's dumb, but at the same time, 90% of the questions on Jeopardy I can't answer. So it's like, well, just get something in my wheelhouse and I'll win tons and tons of money.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I know the famous one, Danky Kang.
Yeah,
I know about that one because that one's just hilarious. But yeah, I'll have to look up that montage. So I haven't been playing a lot of video games right now because I somehow fractured my finger. Hyperextended.
Still got thumbs, don't you?
I still got thumbs, so I'm limited. I'm limited to the games that I can play. I can't play Dark Souls. I can't play. I was playing Borderlands before. Can't play that. There's a lot of games that I can't play because it's going to require quick access to that L2 or that middle finger. I can play Final Fantasy VII. So that's what I'm going to be playing to rest myself because that won't require Twitch action. No pun intended. Of my finger, because I've been playing like Magic the Gathering and some other things. I waited like an idiot. I waited too long to get it checked out, and they're like, I don't think you are gonna lose mobility, but there's a chance, because I can't I'm dumb. I thought it was.
I'm
just
not gonna say anything because that's a crappy thing to hear.
I thought it was sprained. Yeah. Well, I thought it was sprained, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just rest it. I won't do anything crazy. Yeah, so hopefully we're all in the clear. I mean, it's doing better since it's in a brace, but yeah, I'm gonna have to watch what video. It's just sad. It's sad, and I can't play any of these lovely guitars.
Yeah, I'll say, so I know healthcare is not cheap, folks, but as somebody, I've had problems that I won't go into, but I had various physical problems over since September of last year. I've gone to, I want to say around 15 or 20 like doctor's appointments. So I know that it's expensive, but you got to keep going. Like the things that I've been working on are slowly but surely getting better. So, you know, don't wait.
Yeah, and I'm not usually one who waits. I procrastinated.
Stubborn in your old age.
Well, I procrastinated it a little bit, and then I was like, well, I've got my vacation coming up, and you know, I don't want to. Maybe I'll go after that if it's not better. I need to stop doing that. I don't do it very often, but every now and then it just completely bites me. So, what have you been playing lately?
Man, so you mentioned Final Fantasy VII and why that's such a good thing to get into while you have a messed up finger, because man, JRPGs. I came to this realization a couple days ago because I'm playing Fire Emblem Three Houses on the Switch. It's fantastic. If you like strategy RPGs, I'm about 25 hours in, and this is coming off of putting 90 hours into Persona 5. I came to the realization that JRPGs are probably in the best spot that they've been in maybe 20 years or more. Yeah. We've had, in the last few years, and I'm not even going to name all of them, but we've had more additions to the Tales series. Final Fantasy 15, which, while divisive, I still thought was excellent gameplay. Persona 5, Dragon Quest 11, which is one of the best in the series. I can't wait to play the definitive edition on Switch because I didn't put enough time into it on PlayStation, but I want to play that sweet 16-bit edition. Fire Emblem, Octopath Traveler, if you're looking old school. There's that one that Kevin likes, that Cosmic Star Heroine. That's like Chrono Trigger like, and it's taken me a while to pick them up again. I went through a very long lull, probably 10 years or more, where literally the only JRPG that I would play was Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 8. I would not counting Final Fantasy 14 online, but
it's a safe bet.
Yeah, and I played Final Fantasy 15 because I waited that long for it, and then I dropped them again because I'm just like, no, the turn-based RPGs cannot be good again. Like, it can't happen. And I was completely wrong. So I'm back in. I'm going to take Fire Emblem probably through the end of the month. I'm going to pick up Dragon Quest 11 on the Switch at the end of September. Probably be into that. Like my fall is looking pretty Japanese, and I love it. It makes me feel young again.
Cue the I'm turning Japanese song. I'm sorry, when you said your fall is looking very Japanese, it just immediately popped into my head. But no, it's a good time to be alive. Speaking of Japanese, because this segues into what we were going to talk about next. So there have been a lot of people blaming the recent mass shootings and death and murder in general on violent video games. And you and I know, could go on like rants about this, but I wanted to really quickly soapbox in a crazy quick moment, because people are talking about violent video games thinking that violent video games cause violence, when we've shown that there is no connection to violent video games versus youth violence or per country. And is Japan even on this list? Not on the list. Japan has the same video games that we have, if not making the games that we're playing. The problem that they have is different. It's a suicide problem. Mm-hmm. But in the middle of this rant, I'd like to point out with one word how every single politician is wrong. And I can prove it with one word that no one else is mentioning because no one's deep into nerd culture like we are. That word is Manhunt. Manhunt came out, and Manhunt 2, and I know these are not your thing at all. Mm-hmm. And as a horror game fan, as a fan of horror video movies and all that, no one became a serial killer after watching this, after playing it. That's the most visceral game that I've played probably in my entire life. But serial killing's down. So if violent video games cause people to mimic the violence that they see, like Call of Duty or GTA, then Manhunt would have done the same thing, but it didn't. So, mic drop.
So I had my own list of I don't have pictures to go with mine.
I didn't prepare you for that. I'm sorry.
That's absolutely okay. So this comes after again. So I'm only naming two of the politicians, but Senate Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and then President Donald Trump both mentioned video games on Monday after the shootings. And by the way, I don't know if we have any listeners anywhere close to either of those places, but El Paso, Dayton, fist bump, man. That sucks. It shouldn't be happening. I'm not going to go into like how to fix it or anything like that. This isn't the show for that. But in terms of blaming video games, I went to a little-known website that I really do not like clicking on ever, and that's Fox News Network. And just to show that I'm trying not to be like completely biased in this, I went to Fox News. What does the research show? There are no longitudinal studies that show a link between violence and video games, said a professor from the University of Nevada. Plenty of gamers get upset when they lose or they feel that the game is cheating, but it does not lead to violent outputs. Another study in 2006 from Indiana University found that teenagers who play video games showed higher levels of emotional arousal, but less activities in the parts of the brain associated with the ability to plan, control, and direct thoughts and behaviors. And then a professor at Villanova University who focuses on video games found in his research that men who commit severe acts of violence actually play violent video games less than the average male. About 20% were interested in violent video games compared with 70% of the general population. He explained in his book about why the war on video games is wrong. And then lastly, another study by the same guy showed that violence tends to dip when a new violent movie or video game comes out, possibly because people are at home playing the game or in theaters watching the movie. The general story is people who play video games right after might be a little hopped up and jerky, but it does not fundamentally alter who they are. So I got all this stuff from Fox News because they're generally a right-leaning website that is generally who point to this. I do want to throw out the Democrats do like to point to it too, so I'm not just trying to throw the right under the bus. Lieberman in the 90s did not like video games at all. That's why we have the ESRB. Stop it. Just stop it. I get it that you don't want to blame the actual problem. And again, we're not here to address that. But stop blaming video games. There are over 1 billion video game players.
A billion.
On the face of the planet.
With a B.
So literally, I could say, hey, that guy eats hamburgers. He likes to kill people. Like, come on. Like that's the kind of comparison we're making whenever we talk about video games. I had to bring it up. I don't want to take the bait too much because it's stupid. It's definitely just, it's a distraction. That's all it is. But this is a video game and nerd podcast, so we have to address this distraction regardless of it. I've been angry all week. So.
Me too. But I've seen similar studies where they're talking about you're talking about the emotional aspect of what happens with a game. I've seen studies where they were talking about people who play games have less of a chance of having basically being able they have less of a chance of having anger management issues. Because they have an outlet of one way or another, which is important in my opinion. Like video games versus working on your yard or your car, whatever it is, it's an outlet that allows you to get through frustration, allows you to feel like you've succeeded, which is something that's really important in psychology, to feel like you've accomplished something. And video games allow you to do that, in my opinion, in almost instant gratification way. But anyways, we'll get off our soapboxes. Video games are great. We live in a great time of video games. We already have a rating system, so let us be the conservatives that you are and say, well, let's let the market dictate that, and we have a rating system to protect kids. So, anyways, let's talk about things that do make me angry though. Ninja
makes you angry?
I don't know, he just irritates me. Not as bad as Jacksepticeye or anything.
Oh, really? Ninja doesn't bother me at all.
He's not that bad. I just thought I'd segue, and I don't have real negative thoughts about him like I do about PewDiePie or
okay, yeah, because honestly, I think if there's a face for nerds, he doesn't do a bad job.
No,
especially because he turns a lot of his money into charity.
That was a bad segue, but yeah.
So it's okay. So what Ninja has done is he did a really weird. Completely sarcastic, by the way. A lot of people that didn't really watch this thought it was a real press conference. I thought that was hilarious.
But he's asking himself questions.
Yeah, exactly. They just weren't paying attention to that fact. So he did a parody of like a LeBron-esque thing of he's taking his talents to South Beach. Well, Ninja's taking his talents to Mixer.
Yep.
Now a lot of people are going to be like, "What's Mixer?" I don't blame you. That is Microsoft. Man, I'm good at talking today. Microsoft's streaming website, a lot like Twitch. If you don't know what Twitch is, that's okay. It's another streaming website. You get to go play video games, and you can watch people play video games on there. He is left Twitch after years and years to go stream exclusively on Mixer. And while that may not be the biggest thing to everybody, like for people who pay attention to streaming culture at all, it was a very big announcement that was not expected at all.
I think it wasn't expected for a lot of reasons. I don't think Twitch or YouTube or Facebook or anybody have thought about exclusivity. There's a lot of people who post and stream to multiple platforms. So I don't think that... And I also think that Twitch didn't think anybody was going to dethrone them, as it were. I mean, they're the de facto place to stream and play and stream gameplay. Yeah, you can stream to YouTube, but Twitch is where you go. Mixer's been trying to do their thing. Microsoft's been trying to do their thing. I'm curious, did we see or has it been revealed how much he got off this?
No, we're not going to find out about that. Jay Ghosty, which is his wife, is his manager, and she puts in work. So if we're talking about, like, he had lost a number of subs, notably from Twitch in the last few months, and that's just because he hasn't been streaming as much, because she has helped him find other avenues. You can see his merch in Walmart and Kohl's and so many other things. He's grown in YouTube. So he already wasn't streaming much, but he was making millions on Twitch, probably a month, maybe every couple months. So I would be shocked if it was anything less than $10 million.
That's basically what I was going to say. It was either the same, an equivalency, or enough for him to be like, well, it's a safe bet. I can get sponsorship elsewhere. As long as that was open on the contract. If it was just saying, as long as you stream here, we're cool. Anthony in the comments mentioned he feels like he's the only one of the few people who doesn't watch or deal with many Twitch or YouTube streamers. I don't watch a lot live. I do watch a lot afterwards. People, archived streams or whatever. I know you watch live, but I watch more playthroughs than I do streaming. So.
Yeah, I watch a lot of streams. It's not for everybody. There's a thing of, the biggest like joke in the world about it is like, why would you watch anybody play video games when you could just be playing video games themselves? And that's where you get to be like, why would you watch sports when you can play sports yourselves? Yeah, I know Anthony wasn't saying that at all. So, no. But what I was saying is that not everybody like necessarily gets it, and it doesn't click with everybody. But I have found in the type of work that I do and how long I spend, like, at home, I work from home, I'm at home all the time. It's good background noise. It's nice to see some people playing some video games. It's nice to have a community to interact with every once in a while. There are also podcasters. Like, I listen to podcasts that do similar things to what we are doing here on Facebook. That also do streams where they just do like group podcast streams and stuff, and that's fun. And then there's also things like Critical Role, where you can watch people do like D&D live and things like that. So the thing about Twitch is that even if you don't necessarily want to watch people play video games, you can go on there and see people do art and play music and do other things. And it's just that they're doing it live versus recorded on YouTube. Yeah. So it's not for everybody, but I do encourage everybody should just check it out. Click around every once in a while. It's fun.
Yeah, actually, one of the Twitch streamers that I do watch every now and then, it's I think they're a husband and wife that play music and sing. And they'll take requests. Like if you donate, they'll do a request. So they do like mostly covers and some originals, but the requests are usually requests for covers. Sometimes there's something they've never played before, and it may or may not work, which I think is really cool. Seeing people do that.
Yeah, it reminds me of like in band in high school. I don't know. Were you in band in high school?
I was in music theory, so I wrote for band. I was one of the nerds of the nerds. I was in jazz band for a little bit, but yeah.
So in band, and in orchestra and in choir, they have a thing called sight reading, where you would have to do that as like part of like the school thing, and literally like you get a piece that you've never played before, and you have like 30 minutes or an hour or something like that to learn it, and then you got to go play it for judges. So I imagine that for people like that, it's even crazier because it's like, hey, here's a request for a song we've literally never played. Go.
Do it right
That'd be
now.
fun.
Well, I did sight reading.
I want to know that stream. Share that with me sometime.
I'll find it. Yeah.
Okay.
I did sight reading. So I wasn't in band. I was in jazz band for a semester, but I was in music theory. But I had to do sight reading and kind of a little bit in both of those, but they never gave us 30 minutes or an hour. I know band competitions, I think they do that. But mine were like, you have like a minute, and it's right in front of you, so you can just literally look at it and read it. Which there's another guy I can I'll link you to in the comments or in Facebook chat.
Yeah.
Keepers First. I think I may have told you about him before. He's on YouTube, and I don't think he's still active now. But he would sight read. He's a ragtime pianist. And
Ragtime
never played video games, and I don't know if it's his nephew or his student, someone was like, hey, you should play this song, and he put up Super Mario Brothers or something, and he had no idea what it was, and he starts playing these songs. He's playing like all these different video game songs, and they may be an arrangement, but it is literally the first time that he's ever seen it, and he's playing like the Super Mario 2 theme, or the Super Mario athlete rag. He's playing that. He's literally just looking at it, and he just starts playing like immediately. I've never been anywhere near that good, but drums I'm okay at, but it was like, anyways, being able to do that immediately is really cool. But,
so either way, the fact that's not the only, video games aren't the only live stuff that you can see. And so it's, for me versus YouTube, because I rarely watch YouTube, and that's what's weird about it, is I love watching the live stuff. It's literally the fact that it's live that interests me, because you can get real-time comments in with these streaming, say, hey, what's up, man? And it's like, they're like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. And that's a thing that applies to that social media aspect of you, where you like those likes and stuff. That's part of it. Yep. Anyways, Ninja moving over there, that's pretty big. I think that as we wrap that up, that I don't know what it does for Mixer, but it's interesting because Twitch is doing fine and has been doing fine before Ninja was doing fine. Yeah. He helped make it bigger, but Fortnite helped him get big. Mixer is barely known to anyone, so he's helping put Mixer potentially on the map, which could hopefully drive some competition between for Twitch, which I'm all for. I love competition. So. Of
course. And my hope is that, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but my hope is at least half of his subscribers go on to Mixer and watch him regularly, and then maybe check out the platform more, because, like you said, the competition breeds diversity, breeds opportunity, so I'm all for it.
Innovation, baby.
That's right. What I'm not for is people leaking data. And
ooh, this was bad.
This was pretty bad. So this was E3 Expo. Personal information was leaked of 2,000 journalists. So it was not. It was journalist attendees.
And this has actually since been updated. That not only was this last year's E3 journalists, but they actually had to put out a thing where they said people who attended the E3 convention in 2004 and 2006 also potentially have their data leaked as well. So going back years, dude.
Yep. Years. And this is 2004, 2006. No one was talking about cybersecurity.
Nope.
No one was talking. I mean, identity theft has always been a thing of one sort or another, but that's crazy. That makes me wish there was a way, other than like social security numbers and different things like that you could like do verification. Like you can do temporary fake debit cards. I don't know if you've seen that, like Chrome extensions. So it'll
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, so you can link it to your card and be like, I'm not going to spend more than $15 on the subscription. So you tell the fake. It's an interesting setup. I wish there was a way to do that with social security cards. Like, can I refresh my social security number every year or something? Or maybe the real number remains, but no one's going to ever ask me for it. This wasn't social security numbers, but it's just cybersecurity in general was not thought of in 2004.
No. And so this, by the way, this is from the ESA. So ESA, if you don't know, they are the people who run E3. This could kill the ESA. So the majority of the money that ESA gets is from E3. They do some other stuff throughout the year too, but like if you were to have fun looking at their financials, the majority of their financials was from E3. And if they had a bunch of data leaks from E3, one, you have people who are going to be wary about, this is all journalists, by the way, this isn't the consumer, but the people who spend the most time there and are getting their outlets are paying money for them to have journalist badges and so on. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. I'm pretty sure that there's already a class action in process of getting done. I don't want to go sky is falling or anything, because I hope nothing happens to E3 proper from a selfish standpoint, because I love E3. If you'd like to see my reporting on the last E3, I did a lot of it. But this is the thing where this could bankrupt them if the class action took enough money in damages.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't want anything to happen to E3 either. But you never know. And especially I feel like it's a volatile time for them anyways, because E3 is evolving.
Sony left last year.
Sony left. Nintendo doesn't do presentations, but
yeah, they're just on the show floor.
So there's so much that they don't necessarily need to have E3. We have other shows, other conferences.
EA's not there anymore.
EA's, yes. There's so much that it's a volatile time for them to have this happen. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, so this was just a crazy thing that happened over the weekend. This small journalist, I think her name's Sophia Narwitz, found this, and then the what Patrick's been showing is Kotaku picking it up. Just crazy, just absolutely crazy. It was literally if you read into it, and I definitely encourage you if you're interested in this kind of thing. Basically, all they had to do was go click on a link, and there was just an archive that just had all these people's personal information. And since this has come out, people have started getting phone calls, and the internet. Just let your imagination run wild. From a personal standpoint, I will say this: somebody tried to access my Netflix account last week from Singapore.
Yeah.
Immediately changed my password. Turned out that there's been 2 different breaches of my information in the past 6 months. There's a website that, if you aren't aware of it, it's called You've Been Pwned, or Have I Been Pwned? One of the two. But you can have alerts set up with your email address and so on. 2-factor your stuff, people.
Yep.
I'm not even joking.
Yep.
2-factor.
Two-factor. I think that we're in a situation now where a lot of people want to go to a single sign-on. If you're not familiar with that term, you've seen it all the time where you want to log in Facebook with your Gmail.
Yeah.
Do you want to log into this new website with your Facebook and link all your information? It's very convenient, but it does have the same type of even more.
Definitely two-factor social media accounts.
Yeah, two-factor, all of that.
Because that's where all your pictures and stuff are. Like, that's where we start to get... I mean, not only do you want to care about, like, your credit cards and so on, but, like, just imagine the wealth of personal information that you potentially have on things like an Instagram or a Facebook.
Which
is crazy.
I actually plan on locking down a little bit more than I have in the past. But anyways, I won't go on too much of a soapbox on that. Just be aware of your cybersecurity. Be aware of... people are out there and they'll do all kinds of stuff. Take out credit cards in your name, try to buy a boat, all kinds of stupid stuff.
Or even like simple things like they'll just, if they get access to your Google or your Apple account or something like that, and they just want to buy some music, and they just want to or they want what's that game that Clash of Clans? Yeah, I gotta buy all that sweet boxes on Clash of Clans.
Yep.
Man, I cannot talk Clash of Clans. That sounds bad.
Yeah, that's a game that would be banned. If you want to ban it. Anyways, speaking of stuff like that in regards to loot boxes and stuff, the ESA did talk about, this isn't something that ESA really did. I put good guy ESA for no reason there. But apparently Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft have all kind of collectively said they are going to, from... I guess the new platforms onward, more than likely in the future, show the odds for loot boxes, which I think is a really good idea to do. A lot of countries do that, or like they require that already. Japan requires that, which is where we get a lot of stats where we don't get here. I don't see any negativity to that. You get odds with slot machines. You can check your odds with other gambling. And in one way or another, this is gambling. I know you and I kind of have different views on it, but you are paying money for a chance of getting something good or not getting much at all. I think that showing the odds, and I know I've said this ad nauseum, but just putting a label on the game would help. I don't want to ban them. I just want communication on them. What do you think about this?
I think it's fine. We're on odds on the words. I don't think it's gambling, but a lot of people do. I don't think it's gambling unless there's a potential for monetary return, which on all this stuff it is not. But it is very predatory on just like the reasons why I like live Twitch feeds over YouTube and so on. Like, it is very... what's the word for the positive stuff? Like when you work out, you get endorphins. It's very endorphin inducing to click stuff and, what am I going to get? Am I going to get something cool? And it is very easy to get kids to spend a lot of their parents' money. So, we've talked ad nauseum about this, since we started doing a podcast together. I don't ever care about, something like this. It's just a warning. It's just like the ESRB, where it's clearly on your game that this is rated for teens or this is rated for mature. So it should absolutely be rated the same way in terms of like, hey parents, please look at this little box.
Yep.
You don't, and you buy your kids Grand Theft Auto, but please, you can't blame us anymore. It's just like, hey, caution, coffee is hot. Caution, this iron will burn you if you iron clothes while wearing them. It is much along those same lines. It's just a thing to keep people from suing you.
I agree. One thing that if I was gonna sue anybody about video games, though, it may be about taking my games away if I purchase them.
Mm-hmm.
DuckTales.
Oh, woo!
DuckTales is being taken off of was it Wii U and a couple other.
It's being taken off everywhere.
Listed everywhere, which is crazy sad. I think I saw that on my Wii U. I need to boot up my Wii U and see.
You need to make sure it's downloaded anyway, because they're not going to take it from you in that way. So the only reason that I threw this story on there is because I've been a very big advocate for digital lately.
Yeah.
I have gone all digital on Switch. My most recent purchase of Fire Emblem, big AAA game, got it digitally. And I'm just okay with it. I'm tired of putting more and more things on my shelf that I literally like play, because everybody knows me. I play through a game once and I never touched it again. But I wanted to highlight why people could be apprehensive about this, because you have something like this where a game could just be lost. That said, they're not taking it away from people. They're not going to go in and surgically remove it from your machine. So if it's downloaded, it'll be there. If you've purchased it, theoretically, you should have the ability to re-download it. But once it's delisted, it becomes a lot harder to find on your library. I know it's still doable, but that varies by console. This happens all the time. There's actually a Twitter that I meant to write down on here to make everybody aware of, but you can go literally see and it's just a thing that lets you know about games that are being delisted or have been delisted. Sad state of affairs, but I did also want to note that if you really care about DuckTales, it's not the remastered version, but you can get the Disney Afternoon Collection, which includes DuckTales 1, 2, Darkwing Duck, Chippendales Rescue Adventure, and Tailspin. You can get that for $4.99 on PSN right now. It's on sale, down from $20.
Is that on PS4? Is backwards compatible to PS4?
It's on PS4, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I think it's on Xbox too, but it's dumbly not on Switch. Like, you'd think this Disney Afternoon Collection of NES Capcom games would be perfect on the Switch. But for some reason they have not. So it's not the remastered version, but literally I just want to point out, if you're ever thinking about games, and especially some of these indie things that are digital only, and you're like, oh, I could buy that later, it'll exist. There's a chance that it might not. So, support your publishers while you can.
Yep, that's exactly right. And which is one reason that some people are apprehensive, like you said, about moving to digital, which may be even more reason why people are apprehensive about Stadia.
Yeah, I thought this was the perfect segue.
I thought so too. So, Stadia is going to have a presser right before Gamescom. Gamescom is on August 19th. August 20th?
19th. Starts on the 19th. Kickoff is on the 19th.
That's right. So we're going to hear more about Google Stadia. I've not, I'll admit I have not, I need to pre-order my Stadia. I know you did.
I did.
I need to pre-order it because I'm really curious. I want to be in on it. Plus, you get your the Chromecast Ultra. But I'm excited about the flexibility of this. Switch proved that being able to take your games with you no matter what was a huge factor and a huge benefactor. By the way, I love this gamer, that old woman, by the way, because she's awesome. But the Switch proved that when a lot of people were saying, oh, well, people aren't really that into it, or if they are, they want to play a mobile game. No, we don't want to play a mobile game. But being able to, if I'm traveling, I went away for vacation, and I brought my Switch because, you never know. I'm not going to bring my Xbox, but in this case, I could just bring my Chromecast and my controller and play wherever I am.
You wouldn't even necessarily have to do that if you're, say, you're traveling for work and you bring your personal laptop.
Sure.
Anyway, or even you don't even have to bring your personal laptop. No, you could even do your, if your work allows Chrome, for example. I'm not encouraging, but if your work allows Chrome, you can literally play in your web browser on that computer. Yep. The theory is, and the reason why I am a day one, I'm not going to say full supporter yet, even though I did give them my money. Sure. I did buy the Founders Edition, like he said. I wanted the controller. I want to check this out. I'm a day one. I'm super intrigued about this. I'm a day one. I want this to be the future. I want this to be so easy. I want playing video games to be so easy. I want my future... I'm not future, he's present. My son, when he's older, to be able to, hey, son, I want the TV right now. Okay, Dad. Go in the other room. Chromecast, boop-a-doop-a-doop, got my games. Don't have to move the console around. I already got the Chromecast hooked up for him. He just literally has to take the controller into the other room. That's the reason why I'm in on this on the ground floor. I don't think it's going to be perfect right away. I think there's going to be a lot of hiccups. So this is going to be interesting. They said about this, it's on August 19th before the main show that we're about to mention as well. But they said it's all about the game. So apparently it's just going to be games announcements for hopefully launch. I'm hoping day one announcements. But they said that it's going to include EA, 2K, Rockstar, Sega, Warner Brothers, Capcom, Square Enix, among other
many
partners.
Nordic, there's so. I'm excited about this. I know feels like to me almost feels like a mini E3 because you have 15 publishers making announcements.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Well, actually, what I was just saying, those were announcements that Google's working with.
Oh, sorry,
That's
Google.
yeah, so who knows what we're going to see. But to what Patrick was saying, opening night is that same day.
Yeah.
And when we say opening night, this takes place in Germany, so it's actually going to be during the day of August 19th. I will try. I don't know what day of the week that is yet.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. So I work on Mondays, but I will definitely try to at least catch the highlights and post something up on our Facebook page as I usually do. But yeah, for that, there is going to be 15 publishers there. The only thing that I fear about this, I just don't want it to be like a recycled E3. Like Square's going to be there. I better not see the same footage of Avengers that I saw at E3.
I really hope I don't. I hope we get to see a little bit more of the stuff that's leaked since then.
Yeah.
I hope we get to see some of that more officially. I want to see. There's other things they could either show or even talk about. I know some people don't like that. I don't mind. Like, I don't mind them talking, hey, let's talk some behind the scenes. We're working on this. Let's talk about, when they talked about God of War and bringing God of War into the Norse mythology, I loved hearing the artists talk about the things they're drawing from. I'm fine with that. I'll eat it up. I'm excited about Gamescom. I am closing on my house the day on the 20th.
Oh, nice.
So I might not be that connected at this point, but
I'll do my best.
Do your best. I'll do my best. I'm excited about it either way.
I'm happy Keeley's going to host it. Jeff Keeley, for those who don't know, he hosts the Video Game Awards and runs the Video Game Awards every year. So with Jeff Keeley being the one who's hosting opening night, that means Kojima is going to be there, and he actually did confirm today, I believe, or yesterday, he confirmed that Kojima was going to be a part of it. So that means we're probably going to see some more Death Stranding, which Death Stranding is supposed to come out later this year. I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. If that game comes out in November, I will be shocked to my very core. But it's kind of like a European E3, so I'm hoping just that we see some new stuff. The other cool thing is that Sony is going to be at Gamescom. So hopefully we see some Last of Us 2, maybe some Ghost of Tsushima.
We haven't seen any new Last of Us 2 since, was it January?
I think they did one of their PlayStation Plays things, and they talked about it, but really the last time we've seen a lot of it was the E3 before. Yeah, where they did that weird you're in the jungle type thing. That was strange. That was one of the clunkiest press conferences ever. Was 2018 Sony.
There was the one with the lights over them, and they were in was a banquet hall, because it was mimicking where Ellie is in that hall.
Yes,
which I absolutely love. I loved everything about that except for us waiting.
Taking a break.
Yeah, I feel like it was a great experience for the people at the hall. I feel like it was very Disney-like to be I want to immerse you in this as a maybe Disney's not the right term. Almost performance art. Let's completely immerse you, engulf you into this moment. Disney does that too. But
when they did the God of War thing, that was dope.
Yeah, but I think that if we had seen that, if they had has shot that in hours before, or maybe the day before, and then cut out those sections so we just see that flute performance, and then we see the Ghost of Tsushima, and then I think that was really cool, except for the waiting. It was a hurry.
Yeah, and they said it was weird for them too, in the sense they said it was cool, but then they literally had to get moved between auditoriums because it was in two different places. So the journalists that were there also had to just get shuffled around, which was super awkward. So whatever, who cares? Because Sony's going to be at Gamescom, which excites me. That means I'm really, really hoping to get some more Ghost of Tsushima. I'm really, really hoping to get some more Last of Us 2. If I could get dates on either one of those, that'd be awesome. I'm definitely not holding my breath. There we go. I'm not holding my breath that it's going to happen, but even if I just see him, and it'd be super, super cool if they sprinkle a little PS5 on there, just a little like, hey Microsoft, we saw you at E3, we saw you talking. Don't worry, we're still here.
Yeah, because Sony hasn't. Xbox had their official announcement. PlayStation's talked about it.
Yeah,
Officially.
they're the ones that like did a really rare interview and talked about, but they still haven't called it PS5, but they talked about next gen PlayStation. They talked about the SSD drive. They showed Spider-Man loading in a second. Yeah. So they were the first ones to do it. Then Xbox followed up and like put holiday 2020 on it. So I'm wondering if we see anything from Sony on like, we're gonna do summer of 2020. That'd be awesome. I've wanted to happen so much.
That'd be hilarious. I would like to see Sony beat them to the market just by a little bit. But even if they're the only reason I say that is I feel like if one releases before the other, I don't even care which one it is in the long run. If they both release like within a month of each other, you're gonna have people who have to pick. Almost everybody's gonna have to pick, except for rich people who are gonna be like, I'm buying both right now. Or I may save up to do that because I may want to buy both consoles next year. So it may be something I'm budgeting for right now because it's something I'm budgeting for like after I buy the house. But at the same time, like most people can't do that. So give 6 months in between is healthy. So summer, that'd be great. Maybe someone could pick up one of each. More than likely not, but I would like to see Sony just do something to the effect of one-upping them in regards to, I don't think they're going to one-up them in regards to graphics, but it has to be, they have to do something to show that they're better in one way or another.
That's the thing, is that I think this console generation, and we probably should do like an episode about just talking about the next gen, maybe after Gamescom. We'll see if Sony says anything. But I think that they're going to be so similar in terms of hardware that literally it's going to come down to the games. And so what we're really going to be keeping a very close eye on is with Microsoft's purchase of all these studios that they've gotten, what are they going to do with them? Because the way that it's shaping up, that even though you're probably going to be able to play Last of Us 2 on your PlayStation 4, it's probably going to be like a very close cross-platform situation. Maybe it could launch on PS5. Like, imagine Last of Us as a launch title, or imagine Ghost of Tsushima as a launch title, or the game that I really think is going to be a launch title is Horizon 2 Zero Dawn. Just imagine any of those three games being a launch title, and that's why was so important that Microsoft mentioned at E3 that Halo is going to be launching on their new Xbox. It really, I think, in the next one, it's just like this one. I think it just comes down to the games.
Yeah, I think so too.
And there's the PC master race out there, but they don't have Zelda. They don't have. They don't have The Last of Us 2.
I love my PC. I love playing games on my PC.
I don't.
At the same time, it's not as convenient. It's nowhere near as convenient. Whitney's the one who actually got me more into console gaming than PC gaming. I used to play more on PC, but I feel like PC gaming can be really isolating to an extent. I've even tried to put a Steam link in the living room.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do.
That was fun. That was cool.
Yeah.
Being able to access the library is really cool. But other than that, I just feel like I'm isolating myself away from my wife, and like, I'm not about that. I'd rather play with her. I'd rather play and experience things with her. So, anyways,
I think you can plug a second controller in there. Mine's literally just, I spend all day on a computer, so I don't want to mess with a computer anymore. Yeah. I want the thing that literally I press power. Like literally right now on my Switch, it's in standby mode with Fire Emblems running. So I am power AAA to unlock the screen. Press button. I'm in Fire Emblem again. Like and while you can do that on the PC, it's just not something I want to mess with. No. So I love the PC. I love watching PC games a lot. That's what most all Twitch players do, is play PC games. But
anyways,
we digress.
How about talking about some Rocket League?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rocket League's taking out loot boxes, which I completely forgot that loot boxes were a thing in there.
Yeah, so they had like randomized things where I think you could get like skins and flags.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I just remembered the microtransactions like buying the Batmobile or the
Yeah.
DeLorean or something. I was like, that's cool. I completely forgot about the loot boxes because I don't think about them, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll try to.
So a lot of people, the only reason I threw this in there is again just because they brought up loot boxes, but that a lot of people are praising this thing by Psyonix. I want to let you know that Psyonix was bought by Epic this last year, so they are sitting on a pile of cash. They've also, Rocket League came out, I think, 4 years ago, and has generated tons and tons of money. It's a decently sized esport. For those of you who are into esports, a lot of people play Rocket League professionally. They've made a lot of money off this game. So while it's cool that they are removing their randomized loot boxes, they still have microtransactions. You can still go buy it. It's just that you can literally, like, there's no random element. You're literally like, I want to buy Batmobile. You can buy the Batmobile. I want to buy the Skull and Crossbones flag. I can buy the Skull and Crossbones flag. I love that because I hate random skins. Like, I hate that. That's the thing that I've always hated about loot boxes is that I don't like random skins. Like, because most of the time I literally only want one skin. Like, it's like I don't care enough to change my skin that often. If anybody ever like looks at my profile picture, I change my profile picture on Facebook like once every 6 months or something like that, just because I just don't care. Like, it's just not something that matters to me. So I like that aspect. It's just I'm not really going to give them that much credit because it's 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, Anthony was mentioning in the comments, I was going to type it, but I'll just say it. Like, he was saying, did the loot boxes actually give you any advantages? They didn't. It's all cosmetic. It's like, I want a little
Our
happy
favorite
face
kind.
Yeah, which is great. I want like a purple flag on the thing, or I want like a happy face bobble thing, or some of the cars arguably had I wouldn't call them
hitboxes or something.
Hitbox differences.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm saying. Like, it really, they didn't give you any ones that you could purchase that were necessarily better than the stock cars, but they did have differences in the hitboxes. But that's more about choosing your play style than it is trying to win or something.
Yeah, and so cool for them. I like it when you can just buy whatever skin you want instead of having to do it. So I like it. It's just I'm not going to give them a ton of credit because there was old days where you could literally get skins just by playing the game, which I think you can get in Rocket League anyway. But that I understand at the time they were a smaller company. You got to do what you can to make money. I'm not going to hate on anybody for making money.
Yeah.
The more people that want to do away with the randomized thing and just say, hey, what do you want to buy?
Yeah.
Go
I'm
for
fine
it.
with that. I will spend more money that way. If you're like, hey, you wanna? It's something that my last time I was hanging out with my nephew, or sorry, not last time. It was a while back because I don't live near him anymore. But we were at like Main Event or one of those Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
And he was trying to play like games with like tickets, and I was like, dude, if you want like that toy or whatever, like I'll just go buy you one of those, and we can play some cool games, and then I'll go buy that toy. I'd rather play some cool games and not spend money playing games to hope to get some stuffed animal or something.
Yeah.
Like to me, I'm just like, I don't need that. I would rather just enjoy myself. So
Some people like tickets, man. Tell me you don't like playing a little skee ball. Who doesn't like skee ball?
I like skee ball for trash talking though. Like, I don't need it for tickets. I don't need like.
That's how you get to trash talk though. Like, why you sitting over there with one ticket while I got 9?
Yeah, but. Like skee ball and like air hockey and those kind of games, like or even like the basketball ones, like I like playing head to head with somebody. Like one of my coworkers used to go on his lunch break and go over to Dave and Buster's and like play basketball and then come back to work. And I'm like, so you just spent like $15 and you just shot hoops with yourself. Like I want to be there with somebody to experience it.
I say this, and I haven't gone to one of those places in a long time because they're like literally whenever it comes to those types of arcades, like I need Time Crisis. If you don't have Time Crisis, you don't have Owen.
Get out of here.
Also, if we're going classic, I need the Star Wars Trilogy arcade. Like, if you give me one of those 2 boxes, I will spend all the money that I'm prepared to spend.
Yep.
on either one of those. I don't want to play anything else. I just want to play Time Crisis. I want to play Star Wars Trilogy.
Yep.
But they don't really make those anymore. Like it's like you can go there and play like Fruit Ninja, and it's like I can play that on my iPad.
Yeah, exactly. I would say there's a couple arcades near me that have some retro games. And you have some decent ones around you as well. Cidercade's really cool, and then Free Play. Was it Free Play Arcade?
Free Plays in Richardson, and then they opened another one in Plano, Regeneration.
Yeah. So there's some cool stuff like that, to actually play some good games. But yeah, anyways. Speaking of good games, there was some
Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild's a good game.
Probably the best game in 10 years, if not the best game ever. And there was some protesting about a new game coming out.
Yeah.
Genshin Impact. Yeah, it definitely looks like Breath of the Wild.
It's a straight ripoff.
Yep. I mean, okay, so the combat doesn't look like Breath of the Wild, but the art assets, the art of the enemies looked way too close.
Music.
The music, yeah, which I didn't.
You can't hear it, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the this just looks exactly like Breath of the Wild. The only thing that's different, like, okay, there's some floating stuff, but no, Zelda had that too. This all looks like Zelda. There's some differences, and these character models obviously don't look like
they're anime
because they're anime characters. But yeah, I get it. So there was some protesting, some pretty serial protesting.
Mm-hmm.
But not only this guy smashing his PS4, because it's not only that this is a blatant ripoff, but Sony is promoting the crap out of it.
Heck yeah, it's on PlayStation, baby.
And for them to be promoting this when it's pretty much a ripoff is weird.
It's awesome.
I think it's weird.
Okay.
I don't. If they have a trial of the game, I'll try it out. Like, it's not gotten to the point where I looked at it and said, I'm gonna buy this, because if it was like okay, Dragon Quest Builders. I looked at Dragon Quest Builders and I said, oh, that's a third-person Minecraft with quests.
With Dragon Quest.
Yeah, but I was like, but the gameplay was like, oh wait, I'm gonna build and craft and explore, but I also have quests. But the gameplay was very much like Minecraft. I'm like, oh, I'll try that out. This hasn't hooked me to the point where I'm like, I like Breath of the Wild, I'll like this. But at the same time, they just got a lot of free publicity.
Yeah, they did. So not only did that guy smash his PS4, one picture or image that he didn't show is that literally like around. So this was at China Joy, which is a gaming event. I think it's gaming, so don't. But I'm pretty sure it's like a gaming thing centered in China. And around the booth for this game, a whole bunch of people brought their Switches and had Breath of the Wild playing on the Switch, and they were holding it up. Yeah, there's the picture. So they're holding up their Switches in protest of this game.
Yeah.
Honestly, they did more for this game than that. They didn't hurt this game at all. They actually sold copies of this game by doing this protest. I'm all about this game. This game looks awesome. Like, I don't care about, because the thing about blatant ripoffs is that, one, it's on PlayStation. That's great. Two, one of the biggest complaints, there's a lot of people who don't like Breath of the Wild. I think it got rated too high in Metacritic, that it's a empty game. You're all wrong.
Communists.
But that with this is that with the PlayStation's power versus the Switch, you can actually put a lot more assets in a world that you're crazily ripping off. So if you haven't listened to the music, you absolutely should, because you know how like there'll be some times where you're walking around in Hyrule and you just hear like I think it's like a flute or something that just starts playing. Absolutely the same. Like, it's not the same riff, but it's very, very, like, it's so close. So this is a blatant ripoff, but is an imitation the purest form of flattery.
Weird Al says so.
I think that if they want to rip it off, I don't care. I promote the crap out of Zelda clones. Like, so my favorite 2D Zelda clone is called Blossom Tales. It's on the Switch. It's on PC. I think it's even on PS4. It's like $8. But if you like Link to the Past, it's amazing. It's very clearly a ripoff, except the protagonist is a female. Much like in this game, the protagonist is a female and not a male. It didn't bother me at all. Whenever one of our watchers, Alex, pointed me to it, because I had not heard of it until this weekend, and I was like 10 out of 10, day one buy. The instant buy for me, because Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time. If you can give me something else, especially while I'm waiting for Breath of the Wild 2, yeah. All day. Like, I just don't understand how anybody could be that upset about it. Like, I get, if the only people that should be upset is the people who created the game. Like, if you worked on Breath of the Wild and you're like, man, those assets look extremely similar to my assets that I worked on, you get to be a little miffed. But if you're literally just a person who like bought the game and played the game, like, you could be like Patrick and think it's weird that Sony is very heavily like, they don't care. And they're just like, hey, you want Breath of the Wild on PlayStation? Here's a Breath of the Wild on PlayStation. Like, PlayStation is completely taking advantage of this. You want to think that's weird? That's absolutely fine. But can you really be that angry about it? Like, what reason do you have to be upset?
Yeah. See, I'm not angry. It was more of like, I looked at it and went, I don't have a reason to buy this.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Like, people who are like vehemently angry was interesting. I mean,
why would you break a perfectly good PS4?
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking of, I'll date myself here a little bit, but like back in the day, certain games started coming out. If they were they didn't call them first-person shooters.
Yeah.
They called them Doom clones.
Yeah.
When a game came out, they were like, "Oh, this new Doom clone that's coming out," and then that became a genre. Do I want Zelda games to become a genre? Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Can I get 10 different versions of Zelda coming out at me? Yeah, then I'll pick and choose which one's the best, and then some really good stuff will come out of it.
I mean, so many Souls games are coming out now. They're now calling them Souls games. Like, Dark Souls literally got a genre because it's a Souls game. And then there's like rogue games. Like, for those of you who don't know, whenever you're playing a rogue game, like rogue was a game. Like, yeah. It's not just that they didn't just pick that word out of nowhere. Like, rogue was a game, and then it became roguelike, Souls-like. If you want to do Zelda-like, do it. There's even, and again, I posted one today on our page that comes out actually at the end of the month on everywhere. It's on Switch and everything, called Decay of Logos. Also, very clearly looks like Breath of the Wild. Like, a lot of the greenery, a lot of the shading. You have, instead of a horse, I think you have what looks like a llama that you ride around on. It could be some type of other just non-earthly animal, but I'm gonna, again, day one buy. Don't care.
Yeah.
Any Zelda game, any Zelda-like game that you just want to give me, people, my wallet is open.
See, to me, I've not, other than the environment, it doesn't seem Zelda-like to me. I don't feel like, I mean,
Decay, the one that I posted today.
No, that one. Yeah, I agree.
Oh.
I thought you were talking about Genshin Impact.
Oh, Genshin, yeah.
Yeah, like, to me, I'm like, I love Zelda, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna buy this game.
Sure.
So, which makes it even weirder to me. It was like you copied the art assets of inspired by the art assets of Breath of the Wild, but not the character models, just the backgrounds, the music.
I bet you there's a green outfit in there somewhere.
Maybe. I mean,
like, look at her running around. Like, tell me that gameplay, like those enemies. Like, yeah, you have a gun instead, the
gameplay. Sorry, the enemies. The enemies look like this.
Man, it looks so dope, though.
This looks like Final Fantasy, which I'm not opposed to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find, like, is there a little difference?
This looks dope.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like, I think you're right. I think protesting it didn't
it helped it. It put it on the map for me.
Totally put it on the map.
Yeah, you see that over the shoulder bow? That was all Link right there, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it almost looks like it's a mix between that and Nier Automata.
Okay.
Which, you know what? Those aren't bad games. So, yeah.
I'm talking Patrick into buying it, guys.
So there's a chance that I'll buy it. Let us know if you would buy it. I think that's about it for the game for the news. So, what do you think about this game? What do you think about clones of games? Do you like Zelda clones like Owen does? Are there certain games that you go out of your way to find games that are like I try to find Souls-like games? What's your jam?
Should there be a Zelda genre?
Yeah, there should be. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you later.
Okay, bye!